Welcome to Omega Plumbing Services. This is the job we're working on now. This is Villa Loriana. They're doing a remodel. And I wanted to show you what we have going on here. We're in the midst of doing these two commercial bathrooms. Well, commercial as commercial they get nowadays. We're not in New York City or Los Angeles. It's not like there's cast iron and stuff. So this is still commercial, but it's basically residential. So I'll show you what we got going on and what we have going on next. And maybe I'll explain to you some of the plumbing aspects. Okay, so here we have a water closet. It's going to be a toilet. That's 4-inch coming up. Underneath it is 3-inch. We used a 4x3 closet flange. And then a 3-inch closet flange fits perfectly inside of 4-inch. So you don't have to cut to whatever height you need. You can cut it after the tile's done. Those are two cleanouts, those are two dry vents. That is the cold water line. This is not handicapped.
And I was like, oh, there's no pressure in there. Like, these weren't bulging, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't bulging, so I was like, okay, and I moved this around, and that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I was
Interesting.
like, oh, so it must have just filled up here, and then probably there's a little bit here. So I chose this one because I was like, there'll be less water.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like,
That's
oh, it'll probably just spill out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then it did not spill out a little bit.
So Devin got a little wet. Oh. All right. Okay, so we're filling these up. Okay, so there's a double lav here. There's the vent. Cleanouts. This is going to be, one of those is, two of those are for the trap primer. One is for the cold water supply. Got to figure out later about that. This kind of is a mess right now, but we got some, these we had to reuse. It's a long story, this job. It's kind of a remodel, so we're reusing certain things. I think these in here are new. These are new. And I'll show you what they're gonna look like. They're all gonna be different. So I'm gonna give you a little anecdote. We test with water. Now what?
Is it screwed on?
I didn't screw it on yet. I'm gonna screw it on now. Okay, so what I was going to say is there's a little anecdote here. We fill up everything with water now, and we use these balloons before they go into the ground. They're called Clean Seals. That's the company name for what those are, and they're balloons. And the Clean Seals that thread into cleanouts, they used to be real expensive. Now they're only like 22 or 24 bucks a piece, but that's still added cost to when you got to test. So that's one thing you got to remember. When you bid this stuff, you better put in, costs for test cleanouts and caps and all this stuff and time for that, because that's going to cost. Anyway, so we use water, and the reason we use water now, we used to use air. But back in the day, I called IAPMO, the people that make the Uniform Plumbing Code. They told me that we're no longer using air because what happened was it blew up. Somebody was testing a piping system with air. There was a crack. It may have been cold. I don't know the situation, but it exploded. It causes shrapnel, and it hurt people. And they sued the plumbing companies that made I shouldn't say plumbing, piping companies that made the pipe. So then, in turn, they went back to IAPMO and said, we're not recognizing air. It's going to be not for pressure. So now, most of that waste pipe, PVC, ABS, it's not for pressure. So now you do everything with water, which can get a little confusing, a little strange, because when you go to a cold temperature area like Tahoe or something like that, in the Sierra here in California, it could freeze. So that's a conundrum. So you got to watch out for stuff like that. I got a story about that one too, El Dorado County. That was funny. Anyway, that's why we test with water now. Always comes down to money. Follow the money. Okay, so we're going to be going here soon, but this is what we did. This is a urinal, and what I did was I took a 2-inch cap piece of 2-inch pipe, and then I took a piece of I took a male adapter, MIP, and I screwed this together, and I made basically a test cap in a way. I just did this because it's easy to unscrew it later, and there's a nice hole in the tile and stuff like that. But cost, if you were to use a nipple and all that, the nipple's actually more expensive than using that. Same thing here, same thing here. And this is how you get the water into the system. So right now it's filled with water, it's heavy. So there you go. And there's the clean out, or test tee. You can call it a test tee, a clean out, because you get confused. Now this is called the test tee, all right? When it is at the end of the run, like I don't have one here, but at the end of the run of any piping, you'll see a clean out sometimes at the end of the Y or something like that. And it's called end of the line clean out. These are technically called test tees or clean out tees, and you need so much space in front of them legally. I can't remember, it's like 12 inches for 2-inch. And as you go up, you need more and more room because obviously you want to service it. So anyway, that's it. If you have any questions about plumbing or about anything I'm doing here, this is urinals. 1, 2, 3 urinals. One's a handicap urinal. Just put in the comments. Okay, so we're off to our next job now. This guy require a lot of sheetrock. I hate sheetrock. It's a necessary evil, but these guys, they work for their money, man. Is that 5/8 or 1/2 inch? I don't even know what that is. Looks, I would think it'd be 5/8. Okay. These are the toilets and stuff we're putting in. All right. We're out of here for now. On to the next job. We are on our way out of here. I'm not sure how many acres they got here, but I think it's like 40 or 35. I don't know. It seems, if I was to guess, I don't know how many acres they got. Can't even guess nowadays. I've got a story for you. I bought 40 acres in Colorado back in 1994, 95. And it was way out in the middle of nowhere. It's the San Luis Valley. And it was, let's see, Wild Horse Mesa. It was just south of the Forbes Ranch a long time ago. And I bought it for like $20,000. And then I went home and I was going to make payments on it. And we talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer's like, oh, you shouldn't buy that. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's not going to be worth anything. So, the moral of the story is always go with your gut. Don't listen to anyone because you will make mistakes. So I think your gut is the best determination. Only you know what you need to do. Don't be listening to anybody. I could have had 40 acres in Colorado right now, in the just south of the Sand Dunes. Really pretty area. But gotta go forward.